What's good, CPC fans? It's your boy WilltheRNGLord, joined by the Magirna Madman, and we're back with some Week 2 power rankings of the CPC Offseason.
And so yeah, let's just get right into it.
Alright, so number 16, we have the Portland Greninjas. We both have him because he's honestly just falling off, but I see potential. I believe in his potential, and we all fall down sometimes. It's better just to get back up, and we'll see if he can get back up even when facing a tough division like the one he's in.
I think he is in the best division. I don't like his team, but I think he's a decent enough player to do well. If he drafts a good team, he just wanted to experiment a bunch of new mons, which I can understand.
So next we have the Stockholm Sableyes, and we both have him at number 15 again, and he got blown back this week, but he could have won. Like, his mindset was there. It's just he kind of just doesn't want to win. That's what I'm thinking, because he got 6-0 when he could have easily at least taken out one mon. And I'd love to rank him higher. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to rank him higher. It's just, he's thrown 2 games away now, and I really want to see him prove himself. And
that's what we have to think. Like, Ashy just has given up, like, really. I love Ashy. I want to rank him higher, like Will said. It's just we can't. Like, we literally can't. It's impossible to, unless he does well next week.
So next I have the Miami Infernates, and the reason why he's ranked 14 is he kinda got knocked down these past 2 weeks. He played against 2 really great players, but I never liked his team. His team is still very meh for me, but he did have a little bit of an advantage, but we'll get into that later. He did kind of have an unfair advantage, but he still got knocked down by Goliath. And
Golisopod.
Or Golisopod, yeah. So he got knocked down, and we'll get into that later, like I said, but he did show some potential this week, and that's why he's risen from number 16. But moving on.
So next I have, oh no, not next. For my number 14, I have Turbo. I like Turbo, as a league player, but like he just got blown back the past 2 weeks, so I can't rank him as high as I want to, which kind of sucks. But Turbo, I like his team, with Lottie, Buzzwole, the coughing wall, like, the thing that got walled by coughing. I'll always hold that against him. But yeah, Turbo is a decent enough player, so I do have faith. That's why he's not like on the dead bottom behind Ashy and African Goku.
Alright, so now for number 13, I have Turbo, and I know Turbo's a good player. Okay, he builds for Chimpact. He did well in the GPC, so I have a bit of background on him. However, he had to face possibly 2 of the top 5 best players in the first 2 weeks, and that's just what's making him not able to do well. He's just been blown back 2 5-0s in a row, and I want to rank him higher. It's just from the way he's been playing, I can't. Moving on.
So my number 13, I have Lamar. Like you said, his team would work a lot better if he had a ground resist, like you told me before. But yeah, he had to face A12 this week, beat the team. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, he did have to face A12 this week, the Team Rocket boss. But yeah, I do have faith in Lamar. I know he's not a bad player. and hopefully he can make some good transactions.
Coughing. Sorry.
Coughing. So hopefully he can make some good transactions, as I do still have faith in him, and my faith is not lost yet.
Moving on, I actually made a mistake here, so switching my number 12 and my number 11 up. So number 12, last of the the first of the OU teams, technically. It's the last of the O2 teams, sorry. Last of the O2 teams, or technically first of the O2 teams, I have the Los Angeles Clippables. He's come very
As well as I do.
He's a great player. He honestly should be winning more, but he's been throwing the game away, just as Akshi has, except he hasn't been deliberately throwing. He's actually trying.
Yeah. Greg's a decent player. I don't know him too well, but I know him enough to be decent. And that's why he's not, he's the best of the O2 players right now. For me and Will.
Moving on, I have the Virginia Tech Froakies. He came off of a win this week. It's just, I'm not sure about ranking him any higher. I don't love his team, yet I don't hate it either, but I just feel like he has more potential to show, and when he shows more potential, I will rank him higher, but it's kind of hard. He has a tough division. Moving right along.
Next, I have the Sydney Shifters coach of the Flying Bird. He is 0-2 right now. Wait, no, he's not. Wait, is he? Yeah, he's 1-1, my bad. He did lose, and that's not anything to ignore. And just, he's my fan favorite, one of my fan favorites. And he has a lot more potential to show, just like you said about Jake. And until he shows that potential, he's sitting right here on the number 10 spot, or 11 spot.
Yeah. So next we have, for me, we have the guy who lost to the Flying Bird. The Carolina Hurtiflames. And now the reason why he's not ranked higher is he has Tapu Lele. He should be winning. You can't just lose games when you have Tapu Lele. Okay? That's all I have to say. I'm sorry, but that's the truth. You can't just lose games when you have the most broken Mon in League format.
Anyway, so my number 10 is the Manetric United. He did get tossed this week. He got tossed on his neck. Last week he did beat one of the favorited coaches, the well-known coaches, and he was favored over iPro. But this week he just got tossed. He was number 4 last week, I think, for me. And just... And like, there's no ignoring this, so he had to drop a lot for losing badly. So next for you, number 9.
I have the Sydney Shiftries next, or the Sydney Shiftries. So, he pulled off a big win against Tapu Lele, and, you know, I love him. I think he has more potential to show, but until then, I'm just hoping he can at least stay where he's at. As a solid player, and I love his team, but he's just got to win more to really get that number 1 spot, which I think he deserves, honestly.
So, next, my number 9 is the main Red Claw Richers, coached by Tone. He lost this week to Rob, which is a respected player, but I think he can do better. His division is monstrous, I understand, aside from African Goku, but that loss just dropped Tone a lot. I do like his team. I know Will doesn't really like his team that well, but come on, it has Gypsy on it. and Mega Hounding, which is my young Iron Flash Gaming. But yeah, next he has to play Jake, which is probably going to be one of my favorite games because it's two of my favorite coaches in the whole league.
Come on, Iron Flash Gaming is definitely Garboder. Moving on, we have Manectric United for me. So, he came off of a big win last week, but this week he just kind of lost the momentum. I think he let his win from last week get to his head, and that's what kind of made it so this week he was just a little overconfident in himself, and that was his downfall. I think he underestimated his opponent, and that's what made him lose.
Yeah. So my number 8 is the Toronto Luxrays, which is ironic because he was the guy who lost to iPro last week. But he did boost himself a lot on this week because he did 6-0 Ashy, which, again, who could have played better? But you can't ignore that Turkey is a good player. Turk is a good player. So yeah, I hope he can come back from last week as he did show, but I hope he can beat the next opponent being the whatchamacallit, he has a Hiker Toad.
Yeah. Alright, next we got Main Red Claw Answers for me. So, they came off of a tough loss. It was against Rob. Rob is probably one of the best players, if not the best player in the league. But right now, he just, like Tone's team, I like it more and more every match I see, but he still is just not quite there for me. Like, I could rank him higher if he wins, but you know, I didn't like his team. Now I'm sort of liking his team. Let's see how it moves in the future. On to the next.
Next is Jake for me. The reason why he's ranked so high is because I do like his team a lot. It's a bunch of OU monsters under sticky webs, and it does have a lot of potential. He did lose to Rob, which is, again, one of the best players in the league, if not the best. But he did thrash GOKU, and I can see this being a good comeback for him. So next is back to you.
Alright, so I got the Toronto Luxrays. Of the 1-1 teams, he is ranked the highest, and the reason why is he drafted a really solid rain team, and he proved himself. I mean, sure, his opponent kind of threw the game away, and he was able to capitalize on that, but the Toronto Luxrays are a really good team. They just kind of did the beginner's mistake of underestimating their week 1 opponent, and that's why he is the highest of my 1-1 teams. Yeah.
So the highest of the 1-1 teams for me is the Carolina Hurtiflames, which is actually your lowest, which is pretty ironic. Wait, no, it's not your lowest, it's your second, but yeah. But like you said, he shouldn't be losing a game with Tapu Lele, and Zardawai, which are the best stall breakers in the whole entire game. But the reason why he's ranked so high for me is because he has those mods. So yeah, that's the one. That's really it.
Moving on, I have the Dallas Starmies. So he took out Jake and he took out Tone this week. He's definitely the favorite to win his division, which no one really doubted that. But because of his division not being, I'd say it's not the strongest division of the 4, but his division definitely, he definitely proves to be dominant in his division, and that is why he's ranked 5 for me. I also didn't like his team, but now I'm getting more used to it, and he continues to move up.
So next for me is the Boston Bulldogs. no one really expected him to be doing this well in his division, which he is, but he does have to face Turk next week. The Hyper Toad, I'm liking his team a little bit more. I'm still unsure of it, so that's why he's not sitting here number 5, which is the lowest 2-0 teams.
Yeah, so next I have the Boston Bulldogs, and the reason why I have the Boston Bulldogs is because the Boston Bulldogs, they took out a favorite in iPro because the Pick'em crew kind of learned now that iPro is a good player last week, but he picked off iPro, which that proves something. Like, the potential is there, and for me, he's just gone up in the rankings because he's shown he's more than proven himself. In a strong division, getting that 2-0 lead was important.
So next for me is the Carolina Pantherians, coached by Techno. Pantherians, I will pronounce this someday right. I'm liking his team more and more, to the point where he's probably one of my fan favorites. He beat Lamar, and he beats, what was the other person in his division?
Turbo.
Turbo, yeah, I was about to say Turbo. Techno, but he is Techno. Turbo, which, now he has to go against the monster being A12, and that will be a great battle between them. Which, yeah, I just really like his team more and more each time, and that's why he's ranked so high for me.
So, here we come.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention, he has the monster being Nick Crosmo. Let's just remember that.
Alright, so, number 3. A giant in this format. Like, he has definitely proven himself. I remember the first league I was in with him, and he got swept by a Dunsparce. Now, he is just amazing. Coach of the Carolina Pantherians, Techno Strike. Techno has just more than proven himself. He's definitely shown me he's more capable than just getting swept by a Dunsparce, and he proved that by getting a 5-0 against the Hidden Leaf Village Rose Raids this week, and I don't doubt him anymore. He's a great player and probably one of the top 5 best players in this offseason, and I'm really excited about next week's match between him and the Arkham City Delibirds. That's going to be my favorite match to watch, and you can just bet either way it'll be a good game, whoever wins.
Yeah, 2 great players in this league right now. But anyway, my next pick is the Cologne. Cologne. I can't pronounce anything if my life depended on it. But he is doing the best in his division. And again, he's just a really great player. And his team is really great. And that's why he earned a spot at number 3, just because of all of those 3 combined.
So, my number 2 spot is the Cologne Conkelders, and the reason why they are number 2 and not number 1 like they were last week was because they had a really, really close game this week. They were on the verge of losing, and I still love his team. I still love what he's been doing, but he's just had a really close call this week where my number 1 spot had a very good victory this week, so that's why he's staying number 2. Moving on to your number 2.
My number 2 is the Dallas Starmies, probably one of the best players in this league, and he is favorited to win his division, which I cannot deny that. I honestly agree. His team is a bunch of monsters, and we have A12, the Galissapod. But yeah, that's honestly it. He's a monster, and his team is also full of monsters.
Alright, so coming into number 1, which we both have the same, is the Arkham City Delibirds. I would like you to give your opinion first because I'm gonna close out with my thoughts on it.
Okay, I got you. Great player, honestly. No one can think of any prep better than him. He brought sub bulk up, no, sub SD, Drapion, and Magnet Rise, Magnezone. And it was a close game with Lamar, but he was managing to pull it off. And he and he just showed full potential around the whole game, and yeah, he just showed who's boss.
Alright, so moving on to my number 1 as well is the Arkham City Delibirds. So, no one doubts him. A lot of people would say he's the best player here. And I'm honestly really excited to see his next week's match. The only issue about this week's match, his opponent had an unfair advantage. His opponent knew what he was bringing before due to someone coughing, giving him a mock battle and then helping his opponent, but that's another story. After this unfair advantage, he still got a victory. He still showed who's boss. He's number 1 and hope he stays that way. So that's about it. You got any closing words?
Yeah. So yeah.
Alright, so we will see you next time, CPC fans, for the Week 3 Power Rankings.